Take Two with Jerry and Debbie starts now.
Well, greetings. It is Monday here at Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. I am Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani, and we are so grateful that you've taken some time to tune in today. And as always, we're going to count on you today and all this week for a very special theme of programs. Debbie, I'm looking forward to this. I know that just everybody who's listening is going to have something to share either today or one of the days of this week, I know.
Okay, I'm so glad that the microphone was down because I get that automatic pop-up that our show is on. And all of a sudden it started playing and you started talking and I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. Good thing the microphone was down. We would have heard you twice. Oh, that's not a bad thing, though.
No, it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. But it is Catholic Schools Week. We're celebrating Catholic Schools Week. It started yesterday. My husband and I at Mass, we got to see the most beautiful video done by the elementary students at St. Mary Basha in Chandler, Arizona. It was the sweetest video you've ever seen about how proud they are of their Catholic education. And they talk about the beauty of being able to say the rosary and to go to Mass and to have their teachers teach them all the primary subjects that they need. And you could see the light and the beauty in their eyes. It was so beautiful. We saw a kindergartner all the way up to 8th grade. I just loved it. And it's Catholic Schools Week. And today we're grading Catholic education. We want you to grade it. We want you to tell us if you were a student and you went through Catholic education, would you give it, I don't know, A, B, C, D, whatever? F? No, don't give it an F. Okay. But, or if you're a parent that put your child in a Catholic education, how do you feel about it? We want to hear it from all angles, okay? We really need your participation because we want to make this the best week possible for Catholic schools. 833-288-3986.
That is the number to call. There are other ways to get a hold of us. You can send an email to take2@EWTN.com. You can post a comment on the show website, which is take2show.com. We are streaming the video on YouTube and Facebook, EWTN Catholic Radio's channels on those outlets, so you can post comments there. You can text the letters EWTN to 55000. Might be a small data rate for that, depending on your plan. But yeah, take part in this program. This is how many of us went to Catholic schools? Or maybe you have kids that are in Catholic schools. Maybe you're at a Catholic college or university right now, or a teacher. You could be an administrator, a principal, a graduate. We just simply want to talk about what your experience was, the highlights, maybe some of the things that you think could use improvement, if anything, maybe not. So that is the topic of today's show. What grade would you give Catholic education? All right, 833 288 EWTN 833-288-3986.
I went to Catholic school, K through 8. I would give it an A++++++. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. I have to say, I mean, I'm not trying to brag. I'm not, but I know this because I'm still friends with a lot of my elementary school classmates, and we were just ahead of a lot of our public school friends, believe it or not. Back then, this was in New Jersey. The reason why we know is because when we filtered into public school, ninth grade, it was funny because all of us from Catholic school, we would kind of group together in public school and we'd say, this is really boring. We learned this like 3 years ago. And it was really true. I mean, we were very much prepared. It was like a college prep type thing. It moved us ahead very quickly. We all breezed through high school very easily. Biology, chemistry, all the hard classes. Most of us went on to college. I mean, it was really, I loved. Now I will tell you, our nuns were great. There were a few that, they were a little temperamental. I will tell you, but I loved my Catholic education. I have to
Beautiful.
say that. Yeah, I would give
Well,
it
that's
A+.
that's a great testimony for that. I've shared on this show before. I got started in Catholic schools. We lived about 30 miles away from the nearest Catholic school, and our mom, being a single mom with 5 kids, she tried her very, very best. My sister and myself. My sister was older than I am, and she would drive us those 30 miles and go pick us up in the afternoon. And I could look out my bedroom window, and there's the local grade school right there. And on a wintry day, we slid off the road into the ditch, and my mother said, "That's it. You guys are going to the local schools." So my memory, Debbie, of Catholic schools is virtually nothing, except for when I went to college at Franciscan University, which was, I give that an A++ as well. But all the way up until, K through 12, it was pretty much public schools for me.
Interesting. Now, I will say something. We had a small class size, 2 classes for each grade in Catholic school. Now, this is way back when, I'm 55 years old, so go back a ways. But I will tell you that I think, I'm going to say close to 60% maybe have left the faith. They're no longer practicing Catholics. They're practicing Christians. They practice in a non-denominational or Protestant denomination, but they're no longer practicing Catholics. That's disturbing.
Wow. Yeah, that is. What do you think? Well, I don't know. That would be a long question, long answer if I asked you what you think attributed to that. Probably a lot of things, but
I can tell you real quickly.
Sure.
Many of them have said to me personally that the Catholic Church is not very welcoming. They felt that they would show up at a mass and people were cold and distant, and they weren't very, and they felt the love at the Protestant church. It's and that's something we could fix very easily, wouldn't you say, Jerry?
Certainly, yeah. Well, we need to be welcoming and open and warm and treat people with great respect. We see somebody that we don't know. Maybe it's the first time at the parish. Maybe they're just in town for a short time and visiting the parish. So, yeah, absolutely. We could definitely correct that very, very easily. But we're talking today about your grade for Catholic education, not the grade that you last attended, but your letter grade. How would you grade Catholic education overall, from your own experience, maybe from a parent standpoint? If you're a teacher, talk about what you love about it, what could be improved. We're just having a real conversation about this as we open up a celebration of Celebrate Catholic Schools Week. There's also a Discover Catholic Schools Week in November, but this week is Celebrate Catholic Schools Week. Okay,
so I just got a text message from somebody that also attended the same parochial school I did in Caldwell, New Jersey, and I'll give you the name. It's St. Aloysius in Caldwell, New Jersey, and that's the same one as Father Benedict Rochelle. We all grew up in that same area. Now, he grew up, earlier than me, but Jerry, they gave it an A as well. So good job, St. Al's. Okay, we'll be right back. This is Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie at Catholic Schools.
More to Life is all about exploring what it means to live the Catholic difference in everything we do. Our faith should change everything about how we think, how we live, how we love, and how we relate to others. And it should help us discover godly solutions to the challenges we face.
More to Life with Dr. Greg and Lisa Popchak. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Now, not only can you watch EWTN anywhere but anytime with EWTN On Demand. Get on-demand access to more than 12,000 EWTN programs, including live shows and specials, all in one place, all free. Just go to EWTN.com/on-demand. There's nothing to fill out, no memberships required, and no fees to pay. All you need is an internet connection, and you're good to go. EWTN On Demand. Fast, easy, and free.
Hi, I'm Debbie Georgiani. Jerry Usher and I have created a team of amazing certified life coaches with you in mind. We would love to assist you on the journey of life, to help you live life to the full as the Bible states. Visit us at standtalltoday.com for Christian life coaching at its finest. Initial consultations are absolutely free. Sign up soon at standtalltoday.com.
We are talking about schools, and especially Catholic schools today, and how you would how you would evaluate your experience from that of a parent, a student, maybe you're a current student, an alumni, maybe you're homeschooling your kids. That would be, and teaching them the Catholic faith. That would certainly be considered a form of Catholic schooling as well. So please join us, 833-288-3986. And you can also join EWTN in spreading the word about all of the different outreaches, TV, radio, publishing, print, news, online. It's all there at EWTN, and EWTN Media Missionaries prayerfully take EWTN to parishes and the community through the print and electronic electronic media that we provide. So all the work is done for you. You just have to get the word out in your community. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com and join us in sharing the eternal word with the world.
Okay, so real quickly, this is Catholic Schools Week. We want full participation, so there's a couple open phone lines. If you're a student, past student, if you're a parent, maybe deciding if you should send your child to a Catholic school or a public school or a charter school, please call in 833-288-3986. And Jerry, I always say it, that my New Jersey family and friends, they have a great sense of humor. Okay, so I've received a couple text messages saying, Debbie, you need to clarify. You did not go to school with Father Benedict Rochelle. You're not the same age. That is correct. That was my mother's generation. My mom knew Father Benedict Rochelle's whole family. And they all went same place, St. Aloysius in Caldwell, New Jersey. So yes, no, I was years later, folks. I don't want people to think I'm like, what would that make me, like 80 years old or something?
Wasn't his birth name, it was Peter, right? Peter mm-hmm. Rochelle, yeah. Mm-hmm. Took his religious name, Benedict, after Benedict Joseph Labre. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good memory,
awesome. Small
Jerry.
world. Yeah.
Isn't that a small world? Yeah. My uncle was one of his mentors. My uncle, the priest, Father Lavolsi. And so, it's a tight little town. You know, everybody knew each other and got involved in the families and stayed close, which is such a beautiful thing. And so, as a matter of fact, when my uncle passed away, one of the first calls I believe my sister made was to Father Benedict Rochelle to let him know. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got full phone lines. Let's go to you on the telephones here. We're going to start with Marianne, who is in Beckley, West Virginia, listening on St. Paul Radio. Hi, Marianne. You're first today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Welcome.
Hi, Marianne.
Hi. How are you?
Great.
Doing
I
well.
love your name.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my mother. She was defiant. I had to have both the names. Okay, so I want to talk about the fact my children are grown now, and I started out with Catholic school and pulled them from Catholic school. And now I hope that when they have children, that there will be some more reformation maybe in the school. I think that Beckley's gotten a lot better as I've watched it progress over the years. But we had a lot of issues with nepotism in the school with teachers who would have their children go to Catholic school, and they weren't Catholics at all. And so then the principal felt compelled, if there were troubles with the teacher's children, or if there were arguments, that the teacher's children were the ones that would have to be, cared for and coddled. And I guess I just had a little bit of indifference towards it, the fact that we were Catholic. Okay, I was a cradle Catholic. That doesn't mean that I was a great Catholic or anything. But, it was like it's a snobbery. Maybe you start to feel like, this is a Catholic school for Catholic kids, and they should take precedent because we have a lot of non-denominationals, and we have a lot of wealthier children that go to our schools, our Catholic schools, because of the fact that it's a better education, because there's discipline, because there's a well-rounded education for these kids. Because you're, not only learning about religion and spirituality and academia, but you're putting it all together. And there's a certain sense of love in a school that has a religious, foundation that you don't feel in public school. And I also was a public school teacher as well. So, that's how come I can make that, difference, or feel the difference that both schools offer. But I also read a story about Muslims suing Catholic schools for being too Catholic. And, I guess for me, it's this thing about, I know everyone's welcome and we want everybody to come, and hopefully that'll evangelize children to turn, to become Catholic as well. But in the end, it's kind of a lot of snobbery. And I don't feel like Catholic children have precedent in these schools.
Oh, that's interesting. I would not have been aware of that, Marianne. Like I said earlier, I didn't have a full Catholic education until college, which was 10 years after I graduated from high school. But I just know that a lot of Catholic school students are not Catholic. I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised to hear that you said there were some Muslim students who were suing the school. I don't know what for, if they could get away with something.
I read it. I mean, it could have been false.
Yeah, it could have been full. I can hardly imagine that happening. In fact, I've heard, and Debbie, you probably have too, of parents of people of all faiths, not just not non-Catholic Christians, but Jewish students, Muslim students, people who don't have any faith at all. Just like Marianne was talking about, Debbie, wanting that formation, that discipline, the really solid education that a Catholic school is typically known for giving.
Well, I know, and publicly it's been spoken about that Whitney Houston's mom sent Whitney to Catholic school in New Jersey. They were Baptist for that exact reason, to get a well-rounded, wholesome education. And I remember, I think in a couple interviews, the late Whitney Houston actually talked about, and she remembers how wonderful her Catholic education was. But Marianne, real quickly, I want to circle back real quickly to what you said about nepotism and what happens in Catholic schools. And I kind of referenced that at the beginning of the show. I hope you picked up on that. Catholic schools tend to be smaller in size, the class size. We were lucky enough to have 2 per grade, but a lot of Catholic schools only have 1. And so when you have that, you do have, a child that's related to, the assistant teacher or the teacher or the principal or something, you do run into that. We saw that as well when I was growing up in Catholic school. And that's a tough thing to navigate, through and around because, let's face it. I mean, it's very hard for people to remain neutral in certain situations when they're related to that student. And so that can be a little difficult thing. But I will tell you that happened in public school with my kids as well. So it does happen. It happens in the workplace. It happens in ministry. It happens in parish ministry life. So it's something that I think we all encounter, and the earlier we can deal with that. What I focus on the most is the fact that, I'm reflecting back to what these kids said last night in the video for Catholic Schools Week, and what they said was so beautiful. They felt free to practice their faith. They felt free to say they love Jesus. They felt free to carry a rosary. That's important. What do you think, Marianne?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why we started out there. But then, after a year and a half, it was just, too much for me because my son was being abused and he didn't want to stand up against this other child because it was his teacher's child. And it just got so bad and we couldn't get any kind of a resolution. And honestly, I mean, and God forgive me, but, when the principal retired, actually enrollment went up in our school here. And it's a small one. It's to 8th grade, but, I mean, it's been here for years in Beckley, West Virginia. And, generally it was just the more affluent children that were privy to go to Catholic school. And, we were lucky enough to be able to afford it, and we tried it, and we wanted it so badly, but it just didn't work. I mean, he's 24 now, but it left such a bad taste that the other 2 didn't go to Catholic school either. And when Corona hit, only the Catholic school opened early and was allowing students to come 5 days a week after, of course, the quarantines and everything. And I tried to get my daughter to go. She's my youngest, still at home. And she was like, nope, no way. I'm not doing it. So, that's why I dropped out of choir. She dropped out of choir because she felt isolated or shunned or something. I have no idea. But kids are kids. They're going to have these weird feelings. They're going through emotions, and I get that. I don't really support that. I support more like stand up for yourself and be who you are. And I make her spend the night at her grandparents. So she goes to church with them every weekend too, because it's important for their bonding time. Like kids nowadays don't even want to be around their grandparents sometimes. And so Catholic school and Catholic teaching was very important, is very important, because it was the foundation for my life growing up. And now I'm 48 years old, and I reflect every day on the things that I learned because I'm a Catholic.
Oh, praise God. Marianne, that's a great gift to you, and I'm sure that in spite of the difficulties and challenges that your kids faced, they too have those seeds planted deeply within them, and they're going to be grateful for that. A lot of sacrifice goes into putting kids through Catholic schools in many cases, especially the cost and so forth. So, Marianne, thanks for starting us off with your call from Beckley, West Virginia today. We got several more people we were going to get to, but thank you. You've shed a lot of light on our topic for this Monday already, and we're just getting started.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marianne. Love your name again. Love it. Everybody who's named Marianne is so lucky. Okay, Pat is up next in Tulsa, Oklahoma, listening on Sirius XM 130, is a first-time caller. Hi, Pat. Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning. Thank you very much for taking my call, and thank you for your show. I just want to make a quick comment. I have two older brothers and one younger. We all went to a St. Anne's, which was, elementary school, and then they went to a co-ed Catholic high school in Braintree, and I went to an all-girls Catholic school in Milton, Mass. And I just can't say enough about Catholic education. It's wonderful. It's fabulous. I'm trying to get my grandchildren to be able to go as well. The only thing is it's gotten so expensive, and I guess that's because nuns aren't teaching anymore, and a lot of lay people, and that certainly costs a lot of money. But Catholic education for me is fabulous. I would recommend it to anybody, and I just wish we could all afford it.
I know, and Pat, thank you so much for your contribution today. I just wanted to say, with the tax credits and stuff that people are able to utilize, I know a lot of the Catholic schools are making a great marketing effort to share with everybody, what that means for all of us, how we can support others in Catholic education. I know my husband and I helped a couple people, so did my mom. A lot of people are doing that. So that's good. That offsets the costs a bit, and which is beautiful. And they've done a great job getting the word out and explaining it, because it could be quite difficult, to be honest with you. Most people don't even understand, how to really prepare their taxes. And so they get a little nervous about that, but that can help for Catholic schools or other schools as well. Pat, real quickly though, you started off saying, I want to make a quick comment for you and your brothers. So can you give it a grade? I gave it an A++++, and I'm hearing from a lot of people they're giving it A's and some are giving it an A-. What about you?
Oh, absolutely A++.
Cool.
For me, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I agree. And I agree. And I just want to say real quickly, Jerry went to public school. So, and it's wonderful. And you had a great education, Jerry. I know you went to Catholic college, but Pat and Marianne said this so beautifully about reflecting back to the things you learned in Catholic school. It is so true. I used to encourage the Catholic school kids, high school kids, to come to the parish high school program, the youth ministry program. And it was amazing. You could just see it. And these kids automatically stepped into a leadership role, and they were helping others learn the faith because they reflected back on what they learned in Catholic elementary school. And it was so beautiful to watch. And they just became these leaders of the faith in high school. And so you're right, Pat, it has so much. There's such a wealth of knowledge in the faith that comes with a Catholic education. What do you think, Jer?
Absolutely. And this idea, the notion of cost, that really is a very real obstacle for a lot of parents. And it's really too bad. A lot of sacrifices, like I said, go into that. I'm aware of a diocese in Kansas. I believe it's in Kansas. I don't remember which diocese it is. but the bishop has set up a program where Catholic education, I believe, is free. But the parents, the parishes everybody has to contribute, be good stewards. They have to be very, very generous in all of the collections and probably are involved with, time spent at the schools and everything. But there is a way. They have found a way to go back to giving a free Catholic education. Again, I wish I knew off the top of my head what diocese that was. Maybe
You're
I'll look
correct,
it up.
because it started actually right before Bishop Olmsted was a bishop there, and it started before, and he continued it. And yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And yeah, very good memory today, Jerry. But yeah,
I got a lot of sleep this weekend.
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. And so it can be done. I think it just takes the cooperation of people to really step. If Catholics would stay together and it's Wichita, Kansas. Kansas. Yeah. Yeah, Wichita, Kansas. But Pat, don't you agree, if we would just stand together as Catholics, this whole world would look amazingly different. What do you think?
I just think the Catholic faith and Catholic schools, they just offer so much, not just, religion and Catholic, but the integrity, the ethics with it all. You just can't replace that. And I have to add one other thing. I had fabulous parents with great faith. And they
Real quick,
taught us
Pat.
that.
Go ahead. Pat, hold that thought. We'll let you share that on the other side of the break. Sorry, we got, you hear the music there. Our producer, Michael, is right on top of things. Pat, hang on. We'll get that thought from you when we come back. Derek in Grants Pass, Oregon is right after that. Elsie in Georgia, and a line is open for you at 833-288-3986.
Jimmy Aiken, Marcus Grodi, Father John Ricardo. The leading Catholic voices are on the largest Catholic media network in the world. You're listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
One of the things that struck me when I went on mission in Haiti was the peace that people had there. And it didn't seem to make sense because life was so constantly scary. Gosh, we're dealing with interruptions in our supply chain right now, and it's scary to people. Like, where's the toilet paper, right? But people in Haiti and other countries live like that their entire lives. They make all sorts of plans that are all tentative because I think I'll be there at 5 o'clock, but if a car breaks down the road, there's no tow truck to come get it. I might be there tomorrow, right? But while that's unstable, it also brings about an amazing peace of soul because people are used to surrendering, to being focused in the present moment because it's all they have. There's a hidden blessing in this difficult time for us, brothers and sisters, that I think God is forcing us to focus on being present to the moment. You can't make all sorts of plans for what's happening next week or next month because the moment's what you have, but God is there in the moment.
For more, text Chris at 44144. This is Chris Stefanik on EWTN Radio.
He is honored by the Church as a saint with the title of the Angelic Doctor.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Thomas Aquinas wrote a basic textbook for young theology students that became the Church's most famous and comprehensive guide to the faith, the Summa Theologica. It is still read today and helped earn him the title Doctor of the Church. He died in 1274.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. First hour today on Catholic Answers Live, we ask about problems with feminism. Second hour, we discuss renewing Catholic schools. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. Michael Birchfield, our producer. As always, Jeff Burson is on social media, so if you comment on Facebook and Twitter, he will get those over where we can read many of those, which we hope to do here in just a minute. And also we have Ryan Penny screening your calls at 833-288-3986. It is Celebrate Catholic Schools Week, and all of this week we have a series of topics on education, not just about Catholic schools. Today we're talking about what grade would you give Catholic education. Tomorrow We're going to talk about how did you decide for your children, Catholic versus public school or a charter school or a private school? How did you make that education choice for your kids? On Wednesday, we're going to talk about what's the state of our high schools, okay? Catholic high schools and even public, I suppose. We'll get some feedback on that. Thursday, what's the talk on campus? And by that, we just mean what's the atmosphere, the attitude? How are your students, hanging in there and keeping their faith and amidst a lot of different challenges? And then on Friday, dating, absolutely.
On campus. Go ahead.
Well, Friday is all about education. So really, we'll just wrap up the week with kind of like an unscripted for education. So that's what's coming up this week. And again, we have our good friend Pat in Tulsa, Oklahoma, first-time caller to the program. Pat, I'm sorry to have to have cut you off there, but we have that break that needs to be done for our affiliates. So you were on a thought there. Go ahead and rewind just a little bit, if you would.
Yes, well, my thought was I also was so fortunate and blessed to have great parents who had wonderful, wonderful, great faith. And, I'm not saying you can't teach that, but to have parents that lead you in the right way, who wanted all of us to go to Catholic school, which we did, they were inspired. They were just a great blessing for us. I think I mentioned earlier I'd love to have my grandchildren go to a Catholic school, and I checked it out. My oldest is 5.5. You have to be fully immunized to go to private schools or Catholic schools, whatever. And my daughter-in-law, bless her heart, she's very good, very smart, but she's completely against vaccination, so they cannot attend the Catholic school. And I'm really, I'm deeply disappointed because I told them, I said, I'll even foot the bill. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know that will ever change, but I would love for them to go to Catholic school.
Yeah. And Pat, real quickly, you wanted to celebrate your parents and their faith. Can you give us their first names? We'd love to celebrate them as well and put them in the book and just, thank God for them.
Yes, absolutely. My father, Dennis F. Ryan, R-Y-A-N. We're all good, Irish Catholics. And my mother was Caroline F. Ryan. Her maiden name was Kenny.
Beautiful. Beautiful. They're both deceased. They're both deceased?
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Okay. Dennis and Caroline. I love that. I love the names, and we put them in the book, and we're celebrating them as well. And, I agree with you so very much about, the parents that really do want their children to have that education, Catholic education, and they sacrifice. I think of my parents, 6 kids. We all went to Catholic school. My dad was an insurance agent, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and they sacrificed, and to send us to Catholic school. It's a tough thing to do, but they really felt strongly about it because my mom came from a very religious family. Her brother was a priest, her sister's a nun, and my mom was like, "You're gonna get some kind of Catholic education." And about 5 years ago, Pat and Jerry, I sat down with my mom and I said, "Mom, I don't think I've ever thanked you, but I'm going to tear up. I said, thank you for putting us into Catholic education, for putting us into Catholic school. Thank you so very much." And she looked at me with this startled look and she goes, "Oh, you're welcome." And that was it. And it was so cute, but it's so true. We forget to thank our parents for going that extra mile to give us that education. And about your daughter-in-law and everything, I respect her though. She's for whatever reason, she's wanting to protect her children, at all costs. And so I think, with things, maybe things will work out in a different way. Who knows, Pat? Well, we'll pray for that, everything can, or maybe she can sign the kids up for a really good religious education program at the parish. What do you think, Jerry?
No, I love the whole notion of celebrating parents. I mentioned early in the show, Pat, you may have heard it, that my mom was a single mom with 5 kids. She tried to keep us in Catholic schools, but one thing I will say about her, she was just immersed in everything that we did. I mean, if she ever missed a game or a school play or anything that we were involved in, it was very, very rare. In fact, she was my sister's senior year in high school. She was the mom of the year. So we had that support, even though it wasn't in a Catholic school, and we had a good religious influence at home with an uncle who's a priest, and my mother has some cousins who are religious as well. So one way or another, it can be done. But God bless you, Pat, and it sounds like you really have a great, deep gratitude for your parents.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thanks, Pat. Call again, okay? We love hearing your voice. Can I just say something real quick before we go to the phones? I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to tune in today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Open Line Monday. Today, Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers is going to fill in for Father John Trujillo, and Deacon Harold answers all of your apologetics questions. And that's today on Open Line Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. I just have to say it because I've already made a note that I'm going to be listening.
Good. Okay, we have some email that we'll get to in a minute, but Derek and Elsie have been holding, so we'll go to Derek next in Grants Pass, Oregon, listening on 107.9, another first-time caller. Hi, Derek. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for answering my call.
Sure.
My mom and dad, we had 13 kids, and they put all of us through Catholic school in Pasadena, California. Unfortunately, I wasn't a really good learner, so it was all lay people. So they were pretty mean to me. They put me in the corner, and it wasn't the best experience I had at Catholic school. But I'm a strong Catholic. I always have been, so it never deterred me from going to Catholic church. And my parents were pretty strong about that too. So that was it. But now I live in Grants Pass, Oregon, and I work for the Catholic Church. I maintain their property, and this Catholic schools nowadays, it's an A+. They just do wonderful with these kids, and these kids are always happy. The teachers are always nice and wonderful. I mean, it's a great experience, and trust me, I'm hoping my grandkids will be able to go to Catholic school if I can talk my daughter into it.
Wow, well, that's fantastic. Is that St. Anne's in Grants Pass?
Yeah, St. Anne's in Grants Pass. I went to St. Philip's in Pasadena, California.
Right.
Oh, wow.
But the parish in Grants, I know that, Derek, because I lived in Portland for almost 20 years and was a seminarian for the Archdiocese of Portland for about 6 years. But that's unfortunate to hear, about you being sort of treated ill by some of the teachers and told to stand in the corner and all of that. But thanks be to God, whatever it was your parents or some other influence at school, the Holy Spirit, your guardian angel, the grace of God. Like you said, it has kept you strong. You've never wavered. You've always gone to church. And it's the fact that you still have this affinity for Catholic education is fantastic, that you want your grandkids to go there, and we will join you in praying that that gets to come to pass at some point. Debbie, what do you think?
I agree. I'm sorry it wasn't that great of an experience for you, but I have to tell you though, where you grew up in Pasadena is gorgeous. The reason why I know that is it is so beautiful. I that was actually part of my responsibility in Catholic radio. In 2012, I got the Pasadena area, and we would travel there quite frequently. And I was thinking, this is a little slice of heaven here. But to think that your parents, 13 children in that, and that's quite, I mean, that could be very expensive. That's amazing. Do you want to honor your parents' names? I'll put them in the book, Derek. That is incredible.
My parents are still alive. My dad's 91 and my mom's 83, and they still live down that way. But it's Peter and Madeline, yes.
Peter and
Madeline. My
Madeline.
dad's German and my mom's a full-blooded Italian.
Wow. You must have some very interesting debates, arguments in the family.
No. They're actually, my dad's really pretty passive. My mom is, she's a typical Italian woman, but my dad's pretty passive. Just quickly, my mom came from 17 and my dad came from 15.
Wow.
Huge family.
That is incredible. And I'm
they're
sure
all Catholic. Everybody's Catholic.
Yeah. Did you have good food? Your mom was probably a great cook, huh?
She still is, yes. Very much so.
Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome.
15 and 17, and Derek is one of 13.
Jerry,
wow.
they may not even notice us if we just slip in the back door for Sunday dinner.
Yeah, right. Family get together, yeah. Who's that over there? I don't know. They're probably married to someone in the family. Awesome, Derek.
Yeah, but honestly, thank you. I really appreciate it. But yes, the Catholic Church right now is I don't mean to be mean to other people that left the church, but I think it's because they're kind of a weak person, because you really have to be a strong person to be in the Catholic Church, and you have to really want to be a Catholic, because it's not easy sometimes, but I don't know, I can't imagine never not being Catholic, honestly. I think it's the best place to be at.
Yeah. And I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I would necessarily say that they're weak people, but their faith could very easily be weak, and a lot of people's faith has been. I knew that's what you meant. And let's face it, a lot of people's faith has been shaken in the church in the past couple of decades. There's always been scandal in the church, but boy, the level of scandal that we've seen in our lifetime is just is remarkable. So for anyone, especially like you, Derek, and me, and Debbie, and all of our listeners, for us to still be solid in the faith is a tribute to God's grace and the Holy Spirit, and of course the influences that we've had in our lives. So thanks for the call, Derek in Grants Pass. We appreciate that very much. As promised, Elsie is next in Georgia, listening on Sirius XM 130. Another first-time caller. Hi, Elsie. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm originally from Ecuador, but I graduated here from high school and I came to study. But we put our kids, my husband and I put our 3 kids to Catholic school, and I was a public school teacher, and I just recently retired. But I thought that my kids were very in a very good place, and I could say that their elementary years were the school that they went to, St. John the Evangelist in Hippo, was an A-class school for them, but the high school maybe an A-minus, I think, as a teacher myself. But what I wanted to say is that as a teacher, I was kind of worried about my students more, and I have to confess that during their high school years, if I have to do it all over again, I will insist for them to go and join the Sunday school in the parish. So in addition to their instruction, the Catholic instruction at their schools, I would ask them to join the public school students from the parish, because what now both my daughters say is that they were very sheltered, and when they went to university, they just did everything. Thank be to God, they still consider themselves Catholic, but they don't necessarily have the strong faith that I would have wanted for them to have now. Both my husband and I were kind of leaders during their elementary years, helping in different things that we were able to, as we were also working. But I think we did not do that same job when they were in high school, and that's what I think I would do differently if I have to do it all over again. I will participate more. I will ask them to come and do more as a family together. Go to their service hours together, and I just let the teachers do that while I was taking care of my own students.
Well,
so
Elsie,
I'm sorry about that, but I am.
Yeah, but Elsie, the thing about it is thank you for sharing that, because you validated what I was sharing earlier. As a youth minister, I used to go on to the campuses, the Catholic school campuses, and talk to the kids and the parents about getting involved in the parish community, because it's very important to do that, because they get used to their parish community, and then they get involved in ministry, and they live out their faith. And so you're spot on about that. But I will tell you that a lot of Catholic school parents, they feel they're getting all that in a well-rounded, very protected environment. It's very sheltered. You're right about that. But I would encourage, if you're listening right now and you have your kids in Catholic school, still get involved in the parish youth ministry.
Totally.
Yes, resources. And but here's the thing, here's the good news, Elsie. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being a public school teacher. You're amazing. Thank you for all the work you've done in shaping minds and helping people to grow in knowledge. And it's so beautiful. So thank you for the work that you have done in the school, in education. But I just want to say real quickly that now, if you missed that opportunity when you were in junior high or high school, now is the time. As the parishes are opening back up, get involved in ministry. As an adult, as a young adult, just be a lector, get involved, do something, be a greeter, do something that you can start to feel very connected to your parish community. That's another reason why I was completely, I'll just say it right out loud, I was completely against fully shutting down all the parishes. For that reason, we are made for community. We are made to be together. And it's very hard to do that virtually in a parish, for a parish setting. And so now with the churches opening up back up, hopefully ministry will start to thrive again. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I certainly agree with you on the closing of the parishes, wishing it hadn't happened. But yeah, this has created new challenges, different kinds of challenges. With schools, everybody doing distance learning or online or homeschool. A lot of people have become homeschooling families. But yeah, I agree with you, and I echo what Debbie said, Elsie. Thank you for being a teacher, and I just wanted to make the point. I mean, we're going to be talking about schools all this week. Today is focused exclusively on Catholic schools and with the grade we would give Catholic schools. But for you, Elsie, and for many others, this week will definitely provide opportunities for people to weigh in on the merits of the public schools that they have gone to or their kids have gone to and that you teach at and so forth. So we're looking for a real wide variety of topics and takes and insights during this entire week of shows. So do you have anything else, Elsie, you'd like to share?
Well, I heard the other caller saying it's time for to let the kids stand for themselves, and it kind of not totally agreeing with that. At that age, they're still fragile, and as a public school teacher, I saw that many times, and so. In the Catholic school, even if you're in the Catholic school, you need to be, as I said, that's why I'm calling. You need to be involved. You need to be with your kids and doing different things and getting involved, and yes, continue to be involved. We're as we are getting into retirement age, my husband and I are planning to get more involved in the church. But we wish we did that during their high school years because we would have set an example that they could remember more clearly right now because they're all of them, the three of them are not necessarily 100% going to church, even virtually. Sometimes they don't even watch.
Yeah, well,
so we're sad for that.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that the church calls the home, the family, the domestic church. A lot of parents, even where I went to college, Franciscan University, I know a lot of parents basically drove their kids up there for the start of their freshman year, and they had these rebellious, out-of-control kids, and they thought, well, here, I'm going to give them over to Franciscan University, and that'll fix them. Well, that's the wrong way to go about it. I mean, the home, there has to be the faith loved and lived and practiced fervently in the home. Parents are the primary educators of their kids, and the way I look at it is, whatever school somebody goes to, Catholic, public, private, charter, that has to be merely an extension of what is going on in the home life. The parents have to obviously, support the faith and make sure their kids are soaked in it, even in the home. That's where it has to start, Debbie. At least I would think so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you again, Elsie. We appreciate the call. It really graced our conversation today. We do have full phone lines here and on Take Two. We also have a lot of social media comments coming in and text messages as well and emails. Remember, we're going to celebrate the entire week. Okay. So it's Catholic Schools Week. So if you don't get on today, you can call back tomorrow. I'm sure you can share something that would apply to the conversation. So thank you. Just remember that we're the whole week. Okay, it's like a part, what is it, part 5? 5 parts? Okay.
First time we've ever done that.
First time. And we can thank our producer for this great suggestion. Michael Birchfield was the one who said, do a schools week. We said, okay. Amy is up next in Richland, Michigan on Facebook. We're waving to you, Amy. First time caller. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
Hello. How are you guys?
Doing pretty well. Better now that you called.
Good. Awesome. All right. Well, I was just calling. I personally would give my experience in Catholic schools, particularly my young kids' experience, just like an A+ times infinity. I went to Catholic high school. My husband went his entire life. I also then went to Catholic college. But my kids' school they're going to now, which is different. We switched from public school to our Catholic school this year, kind of driven by COVID and the wonkiness with the decisions being made in our public school district. But our kids' school is so unique and has such a beautiful emphasis on the Catholic faith and it being just an integral part of their lives and their studies that it's just been so wonderful for my kids. I think it's unique. I don't know what other schools do. My experience was we went to Mass when I was in high school once a month. My kids go to daily Mass 5 days a week at school. And they have just, like, their little hearts are on fire with the faith. They pray all the time at home. It's brought the faith to the forefront of our family in a way that my husband and I didn't anticipate in switching them. So it's just been awesome. So
wow.
I just wanted to share my happy thoughts on the school.
Thank you, Amy, for calling and for sharing that. And you really, I think, hit the nail on the head of what we were just talking about the home, being the domestic church where the faith is first taught and nourished. And the kids should be alive and on fire with the faith in the home. And then when you have a school like this, you're talking about, a private Catholic school, I guess probably a classical education of some sort, great books and,
Classical education school, yeah.
Yeah. All the other things that we learn in school, reading, writing, arithmetic, those things are all very, very important. But then ancillary to that has to be a way of developing minds and hearts with a sense of history and a sense of wisdom and a sense of, being able to think critically and all of these things. And I know, Debbie, a lot of these, private Catholic schools are popping up and providing this kind of an education.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
Amy, as you're talking about your own education and your husband's and then your children, this is exactly what I saw in this video last night at Mass when they showed these beautiful Catholic school kids sharing from their heart, and it was so sweet. They were so excited, like you were saying, they're on fire. That was a great way you described it, and they were free. They were talking so freely, and then at the end of their little speech they gave this cutest little smile. And everybody just burst out, in a beautiful laughter because it was so sweet and innocent. I agree with you. And that's the beauty, I think, of it. My children went to public school, and I will tell you they had a phenomenal education in the public school system. My kids had a great A+ education. But my kids always felt nervous about sharing their faith because they were around a lot of other people that didn't exactly appreciate that. And so I hear it in your voice and you expressing it for your children. I think there's a wonderful freedom in that, Jerry.
No, I agree. Amy, any last thoughts before we're getting set to wrap up the show here? Anything else you want to share?
No, but just if there's people listening who do, I mean, we live in a great public school district too. My daughter had a good public school education, but the Catholic schools, it just can be more for your family than you can even imagine. So if you're considering it and it's on your heart, go visit the schools, go see them. They're awesome places for your kids to learn and grow up. So it's been
beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast
Amy.
today. Carl, Jacqueline, and Anna, we're going to do similar topics all week, so I think a lot of calls and questions and comments will be interchangeable with the different topics that we have this week. So please feel free to keep listening this week and call us back. We just aren't going to get to you, and we have so many emails and social media comments. I think this is we've kicked off this Catholic Schools Week pretty well, Deb.
We have, and we're going to keep your comments on our screens for tomorrow. We'll put them in at the appropriate time. Real quickly, though, Pat, if you're still listening in Tulsa, Oklahoma, if you can email us at take2@ewtn.com. A few suggestions came in for your grandchildren, so this is exciting. So, Pat, if you could email us or anyone else at take2@ewtn.com. Jerry, this is a great week. It started off beautifully.
Yeah, parents have a choice to make, a decision to make. Catholic school, public school, private school, charter school. Tomorrow our topic is, how did you decide? How did you make that decision? Financial? Was it over curriculum? Was it over location? Was it over atmosphere in the school? We're going to talk about that tomorrow as we continue to celebrate Catholic Schools Week all this week on EWTN Radio. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. And St. Joseph, in this year of St. Joseph, please pray for us. Amen.
You've heard of the incredible shrinking man? This is Dr. Ray Gurendi. I am the incredible